I'm Anna Hodgkinson. I studied music at Birmingham between 2003 and 2006. I now work at Streetwise Opera as the head of development, which basically means that I'm in charge of all the fundraising at Streetwise Opera. You think homelessness and you think opera, and it's like, what's the what's the bridge there, and I think, well, the first thing to say is that just to be aware that when we talk about homelessness, we're talking about all forms of homelessness. So we're not just talking about people sleeping rough. We are also talking about people in refuges, couch surfing, in temporary accommodation, unstable accommodation, asylum seekers, in whoever it might be, anyone in some kind of temporary, unstable, or non-existent accommodation. So in terms of gender, it's less skewed than you probably think. Because the stereotypical image of a homeless person is a man on the street, and it's much more diverse than that. I mean, we've recently done a project with mums and children under 5 in London, who are currently homeless. So there's all kinds of homelessness there. In terms of how we use opera, really, when you strip all the perceptions away, because they are just perceptions, there's nothing intrinsic about opera that's elitist. Opera is just storytelling through song, with music. It's and yes, you can get into the sort of sets and movement and all that kind of stuff, but what we do is storytelling through song, and when you explain it like that, you can do it anywhere. We have a project called Street Song, which works with people sleeping rough on the streets of Westminster, and we're literally on the street with a keyboard, and that's their stage. And there's not that's still opera. Why isn't it? It doesn't have to be highfalutin, like you say, because at its root, opera is a combination of all performing art forms, really, of movement, of singing and storytelling, ideally with some kind of set, if you've got budget. So it's kind of the comprehensive, it's the Wagnerian Gesamtkunstwerk type idea, and it doesn't have to be scary. And I mean, the work that we're creating at the moment, we're doing a festival called Resound, which is about people's relationships with their cities. So the Manchester group have been writing about the rain in Manchester, and about the bee, the worker bee that's the symbol of Manchester, and about about the statue in Piccadilly Gardens. The Nottingham group have been writing about the Luddites, this sort of protest that came out of Nottingham, and it doesn't have to be a fairy tale story or a love story or whatever. It can be anything. And that's why co-creation is so important to us, because it makes it much more meaningful. You can and do look at existing operas and make them relate to people's lives. So we will be looking at that in the next couple of years. But it doesn't have to be that way around. Why can't people create their own? And everyone's got a story to tell, especially our guys. Our performers have a lot to give. And that's what we try and do with them. It's not about giving them something. It's about enabling them to give to a wider audience, to create something that they then give and perform, and that's really transformational, and that's what sets us apart from the shelters or the day centres. It's empowering them to create rather than to just be receiving.